It was one of those nights where everything feels just a little too quiet. A Tuesday night, cold, wet, and hauntingly still. Rain whispered against the windows as like it had secrets to tell. Natalie stepped into her small one-bedroom apartment, dropping her bag with a thud. Her scrubs were damp, her feet ached, her back felt like it carried the weight of the whole pediatric floor. She was exhausted, but not just the kind of tired you feel in your bones. This was soul tired, tired of being everything for everyone all day long. She kicked off her shoes, unpinned her badge, and let herself sink into the soft cushions of her couch. Dinner takeout, company A glass of red wine. Plans, none. Just silence, just solitude. She sighed a long, heavy exhale and reached for the remote. Then it came. Ding dong. The doorbell. Natalie froze. She looked at the clock. 9:37 p.m. Too late for mail. Too early for a neighbor emergency. Too odd to be anything good. She waited unsure if she had imagined it. Ding dong. Louder now. Urgent. A twinge of irritation. A flicker of anxiety. She pulled herself up and padded toward the door. Hair tied, messily, slippers dragging. When she opened the door, her entire world, everything she thought she knew, was rewritten in one silent second. There, on the welcome mat, sat a baby carrier, a car seat, soaked, dripping rain. Inside it, wrapped in a thin, trembling blanket, was a baby girl, tiny, still, sleeping. Her cheeks were flush pink from the cold. Natalie's mouth went dry. She blinked. Once. Twice. No one else was there. The street was empty. No running footsteps. No car driving away. Only the sound of rain and the rising thud of her heartbeat. She looked closer. Inside the car seat, wedged next to the baby's side, was a small folded piece of paper, wet around the edges. Her hand trembled as she reached for it, unfolding slowly. 7 words, written in the messy, unmistakable handwriting of someone she knew all too well. Her name is Lily. I can't do this. Take care of her. Amanda, her sister. Her older sister, who she hadn't spoken to in over a year, had just left her baby on her doorstep and disappeared. Natalie stood in the doorway, frozen. Rain still fell in sheets behind her, but inside it was silent. Still, she gently picked up the car seat. The baby stirred, letting out a soft whimper. Her name was Lily. Lily. Natalie didn't even know how to hold her properly. Her hands were trembling. She placed the carrier on the couch and reached for her phone. She did what most daughters would do. She called her parents. Surely they'd help. The phone rang twice. Then her mother answered. Natalie, what's going on? Natalie's voice cracked. Amanda left her baby on my doorstep. Silence. I think she's about 3 months old. Mom, I don't know what to do. Another pause. Then came the sentence that Natalie would never forget. A sentence she would replay in her mind for years. She's your burden now. Natalie froze. Wait, what? Her father took the phone. We told Amanda not to have that baby. She made her bed, let her lie in it. But she left her here, on my doorstep. I don't even have formula. She's your responsibility now, Natalie. We're too old for this. Don't call again about it. Click. The call ended, just like that. Natalie stared at the screen in disbelief. Tears welled up, but she blinked them away. She couldn't cry. Not now. She needed help, so she dialed one more number. Mark, her boyfriend of 2 years. He'd understand. He had to. Mark, she said the moment he picked up. Something happened. Amanda left her baby with me. Well, she's maybe 3 months old. I don't have anything for her. Can you please grab diapers and formula? And whoa, Natalie, a baby you need to call social services. That's not your problem. She's my niece, Mark. Yeah, well, that doesn't mean you have to raise her. This is exactly the kind of drama your sister always brings. Can you just help me tonight? He sighed. This is insane. You're letting Amanda's mess ruin your life. Again. Then his voice turned cold. I'm not doing this with you. Call someone else. Click. He hung up. Natalie stood there. The baby Lily let out a soft cry. Hungry, needing, innocent. And Natalie realized she was completely alone. No parents, no boyfriend, no help. Just her and a baby girl who had no one else in the world. The house was quiet again, but this time it felt heavier. Natalie had no answers, no plan, no one to call, just a sleeping baby. Lily. She looked so peaceful, so unaware of the chaos she had been born into, so unaware of the people who had already walked away from her. Natalie stood still for a long moment, watching the rise and fall of that tiny chest. As the way Lily's tiny fingers curled inward, as if holding on to something invisible or maybe just hoping someone would hold on to her. Natalie wiped her tears, then grabbed a stack of blankets, folded one into a small drawer, and turned it into a makeshift crib. She placed Lily gently inside. The baby stirred, let out a soft sigh, and drifted back into sleep. Natalie lay down on the couch next to her, still in her scrubs, still shaking. Outside, the rain kept falling, but inside there was a storm much quieter, much deeper. She stared up at the ceiling. The walls felt unfamiliar, like her entire life had shifted by a single knock on the door. Then she turned to Lily, her niece, abandoned by her own mother, left with a woman who hadn't asked for this but couldn't turn away. Natalie reached out, laid her hand gently on Lily's tiny chest, and in a whisper, barely audible even to herself, she made the first promise, the one that would define the next 10 years of her life. I don't know where your mother went, but I'm not going anywhere. Natalie stared at the ceiling. The baby Lily was stirring again, and then came the cry. Sharp, hungry, unmistakable. Natalie jolted upright. Panic hit her like cold water. She didn't have diapers. She didn't have bottles. She didn't have formula. She had nothing. Just her. And this baby girl, crying for something she couldn't give. Natalie grabbed her keys, wrapped Lily in a blanket, and sprinted to her car, heart-pounding, mind racing. The clock read 11:12 p.m. The nearest 24-hour grocery store was 10 minutes away. She drove like she was chasing oxygen, because in a way she was. Inside the supermarket, the fluorescent lights were blinding. Natalie rushed through the aisles, her hospital scrubs damp and wrinkled. Her eyes scanned the shelves wildly. Where's the formula? What kind, what size? How much Lily cried from the carrier in the shopping cart. People looked, some with pity, some with judgment. No one stopped. Natalie's hands trembled as she picked up random brands. She didn't know what was hypoallergenic, what was safe, what was wrong. She was spiraling. Until a soft voice interrupted. Sweetheart, first time Natalie turned. It was an older woman, late 60s, warm eyes, grocery store vest. Natalie could barely speak. Her throat burned. I don't know what I'm doing. She's not mine. I mean, she is. But my sister, she left. The woman smiled gently. I'm not here to judge, darling. I'm here to help. She took Natalie's card and began calmly guiding her down the aisle. This one's gentle on the tummy. Your one size one diapers. And these wipes, no fragrance, less rash. Natalie followed, blinking back tears. I don't even have bottles, she whispered. We've got some just over here. Microwave safe, easy to clean. The woman paused. Do you need someone to help you feed her when you get home? Natalie hesitated, then shook her head. I think I need to figure this out myself. The woman nodded. You already are, honey. And just like that, in a sea of strangers and fluorescent lights, Natalie found the first person who didn't walk away. She paid for the supplies with shaky hands, loaded everything into the car, and buckled Lily in. On the way home, Lily finally stopped crying, and Natalie finally cried. Not because of panic, but because someone had stayed, and it made all the difference. Natalie had worked with children her whole career. She was a pediatric nurse, calm under pressure, trained to soothe crying babies, explain diagnoses, and handle emergencies. But nothing, not even a nursing degree, prepared her for the moment a 3-month-old baby cried and no one else was coming. This wasn't a hospital. This wasn't someone else's child. This was Lily. And she was now Natalie's entire world. That first night, Lily slept in a drawer, lined with soft blankets, next to Natalie's couch. And Natalie, she didn't sleep at all. She watched, listened, checked Lily's chest every few minutes to make sure she was still breathing. She was terrified to even close her eyes. By morning, her exhaustion hit like a wave, but there was no time to rest. Natalie called her supervisor at the hospital. I need emergency family leave. A long pause on the other end. You've never taken a single sick day in 5 years, the voice replied. You okay, Natalie exhaled shakily. I have a baby. Just for now, I don't know for how long. Her supervisor approved 2 weeks, no questions asked. But Natalie knew this was only the beginning. She made 3 calls that day. 1, to the police to report Lily's abandonment. But the officer shrugged. She's with family. There's no crime here. 2, to a lawyer to ask how to protect Lily. The advice was clear: file for temporary guardianship, which meant background checks, fingerprinting, home visits, fees. Everything had to be documented. 3, to herself, yes, herself. She looked in the mirror and asked, "Are you really ready for this?" Because loving Lily wouldn't be enough. She had to prove it. Soon the process began. Social workers came to inspect her apartment. They checked if outlets were baby-proofed, if the fridge had enough food, if the crib drawer was safe. Natalie stood in her living room, heart pounding, while strangers judged whether she could be a mother. They asked about her income, her support system, her mental health, and all she could think was, I didn't choose this, but I'm not walking away from it either. Each question felt like a test, each form like a warning. She didn't get a warm welcome to motherhood. She got paperwork out and red tape. And yet, in between court forms and diaper changes, panic attacks, and whispered lullabies, Natalie slowly transformed. From nurse to mom. Not all pain is loud. Some heartbreaks are silent, invisible, but they leave scars just the same. Natalie learned that the hard way. It started with Mark, her boyfriend of 2 years. He didn't argue. He didn't shout. He just packed his things, left his key on the counter, and walked out. I didn't sign up for this, he said. You were supposed to be my partner, not a full-time single mom to your sister's kid. Natalie didn't beg. She didn't cry in front of him. She just nodded and closed the door. Behind him and behind everything they had planned together. Vacations, a shared apartment, a future gone in seconds. Well, then came work. Natalie was on the short list for head nurse. Her supervisor had said she was next in line. But now she was missing shifts, taking calls from daycare, arriving late with dark circles under her eyes. Eventually, the promotion went to someone else. Her supervisor tried to be kind. You're doing your best, Natalie, but we need someone who's fully available. Natalie smiled, said, I understand. Went to the break room and cried in a bathroom stall for 15 minutes. Then she washed her face and went back to work. Because she had no choice. And then there were her parents. They showed up once every few months, always unannounced, always critical. Her mother would scan the apartment, noticing every bit of mess. You look exhausted, she'd say. I told you this would ruin your life. She'd hold Lily like porcelain, never change a diaper, never help prepare a bottle, just judge. Her father, he barely spoke. He'd stand near the door, arms crossed like he couldn't wait to leave. Heard anything from Amanda, he'd ask, always with that same bitter tone. And Natalie would lie. Because what else could she say? No dad. Still nothing. Then they'd leave, always early, always with the unspoken message, you chose this. Don't expect us to help you through it. And yet, through all of it, the loneliness, the missed chances, the cold visits, Natalie stayed because Lily was still there, smiling, giggling, reaching for her, calling her Nana. And that word was the only thing that made the rest bearable. The apartment wasn't much, just 2 small bedrooms, a kitchen that hummed when the fridge kicked on, and windows that rattled when it rained. But to Natalie, it was the beginning of everything. The first night they moved in, Lily crawled around the empty living room. She clapped her hands, squealing with joy over the echo in the space. Natalie sat down on the worn carpet and laughed for the first time in weeks. She didn't see bare walls. She saw possibilities. By the end of the week, Lily's crayon drawings covered one side of the hallway. Suns with too many rays, stick figures with wild curls, a crooked house with the words, "Our home," scrawled in shaky handwriting. Natalie didn't take them down. She framed them. Because art doesn't have to be perfect, just honest. Then came the people. First it was Rosa, the neighbor from across the hall, retired school teacher, always baking, always smiling. She knocked one afternoon holding a plate of cookies and a tiny sweater she'd knitted for Lily. I raised 4 boys, she said, but I've got space in my heart for one more little girl. Then it was James, the single dad, 2 floors up. They met in the laundry room, both trying to juggle toddlers and folding sheets. They started sharing parenting hacks, then grocery lists, then became each other's emergency contact. You ever need backup at 3 a.m., I'm your guy. And eventually there was Mia, a coworker from the hospital who brought over a slow cooker and said, I don't have kids, but I have time. And I believe no woman should raise a child alone. Little by little, The apartment filled with more than furniture. It filled with voices, stories, laughter, and love. It wasn't the family Natalie was born into, but it was the one she chose. And for the first time in years, she didn't feel like she was just surviving. She was building something. It started like any other bedtime. Lily had just turned 6. Natalie was brushing her damp curls after bath time, singing softly, as she always did. Lily sat still until she suddenly asked without warning, "Where's my real mom?" The words hit like ice water. Natalie froze mid-stroke, her hand trembling just a little. She had known this day would come, but nothing truly prepares you for this moment. Natalie put down the brush. She sat in front of Lily, eyes level with hers. No lies, no fairy tales, only love and truth. "Your mom, Natalie," began carefully. She wasn't ready to be a mom yet. Lily blinked. "So she gave me away." Natalie gently held her hands. "She didn't give you away, baby. She gave you to me. She trusted me to take care of you. And I chose you every day since then." Lily was quiet, processing, feeling. And then she asked, softer, "This time, will she come back?" Natalie swallowed hard. "Maybe one day, but until then I'm here. I'm not going anywhere, ever." Lily reached up, wrapped her tiny arms around Natalie's neck. "You're still my mom." Natalie nodded, voice breaking. "Always." That night, Lily fell asleep faster than usual, her little hand resting on Natalie's chest, and Natalie lay awake holding back tears. Not from pain, but from knowing that love doesn't require biology. Only presence, only truth, only staying. Some years don't make headlines. They don't carry drama or courtrooms. Just little moments. Lily turned 7, then 8, then 10. She was bright, always asking questions, always painting worlds with her crayons. One day she said, "I want to be a scientist and an artist." Natalie smiled. "Then you'll be the first." They had picnics in the park, made pancakes on Sundays, built pillow forts on rainy days. Every birthday, Natalie wrote a letter, but not to Lily, to Amanda. Letters that started with "you." Should have seen her today, and ended with "him still angry, but she's safe and she's loved." Then Natalie would fold a page, place it in a box under her bed, and lock it. She never sent a single one. She didn't forgive Amanda, not fully, not yet, but she also hadn't slammed the door shut. There was a part of her, a very human part, that still hoped one day Amanda would knock again. Not to take Lily back, not to fight, but to say, "Thank you for doing what I couldn't." Until then, Natalie kept writing. Because some doors are never fully closed. It was a Tuesday, nothing special. Lily was doing homework at the kitchen table. Natalie was sorting laundry, half listening to a podcast. Then her phone rang. A number she didn't recognize. But something in her gut clenched. She answered. "Hello." A pause. Then, a voice she hadn't heard in 10 years. "Nat, Dad, it's me, Amanda." Time stopped. Natalie didn't know what to say. Amanda's voice was softer, almost rehearsed. "I've been sober for over 3 years now. I'm married. I live in Vermont. I have changed. I want to see Lily." Natalie's heart pounded. So many things raced through her mind. Anger, fear, but also something she didn't expect. Hope. Maybe this could be healing. Maybe this was the moment she had written those letters for. So she said, "Okay, but we do this slowly. You meet her with me there, and you don't promise her anything." Amanda agreed. "Of course, thank you, Nat." Natalie hung up and stood still, heart trembling. Because somewhere deep inside, she wanted it to be real. Amanda looked like a different person. Glossy hair, designer bag, a diamond ring that caught the light. Her husband, Thomas, wore a tailored suit. Expensive cologne filled the air. Lily clutched Natalie's hand as they walked in. Shy, cautious. Amanda knelt down. "Lily, you've gotten so big." Lily blinked and confused. "Are you my mom?" Amanda nodded, tears already in her eyes. "I am. And I've missed you every single day." Natalie watched, frozen. For a moment it was touching. Lily smiled, a little, then laughed when Thomas handed her a stuffed bunny. Dinner went surprisingly well. Lily opened up. Amanda seemed gentle, present, grateful. Then the mood changed. Thomas cleared his throat. "We've been talking, and we think it's time Lily comes to live with us." Natalie stopped chewing. What Amanda leaned in. "We can give her a big room, private school. She deserves more than this life." Natalie's face flushed. "This life has been her whole world. It's my world." Amanda's voice was calm, too calm. "We're just trying to do what's best for her." Natalie looked at Lily, now silent. Something about Amanda's smile felt rehearsed, like it wasn't about reunion. It was about taking back. And suddenly Natalie understood. This wasn't a dinner, this was the first move. It was supposed to be a mediation meeting. Amanda had called, they said it would be civil. Natalie walked in holding Lily's medical record, school files, a photo album, proof of a decade of love. But the moment she opened the door, she knew this wasn't a negotiation. Her parents were already seated next to Amanda. Natalie blinked. "What are you doing here?" Her mother stood. "We're here to support Amanda." Natalie froze. "Support her. She left a baby at my door." Her father chimed in cold as stone. "But she's her mother, Natalie, the real one." Those words cut deeper than anything Amanda had said. Amanda looked down, pretending to be modest, but Natalie's eyes scanned the room, and the puzzle started clicking into place. "How long have you been talking to her?" Silence. Then her mother said, 3 years. Amanda reached out. "We stayed in touch." Natalie's hands trembled. "And no one told me." Her father looked annoyed. "You were always too emotional. We didn't want drama." Natalie's heart cracked open. 3 years. 3 years they smiled at Lily. 3 years they hugged Natalie on holidays. 3 years they helped Amanda plan this behind her back. And now they sat here choosing the woman who once abandoned them all. It wasn't just betrayal. It was abandonment again. Only this time it wasn't Amanda alone. It was everyone. The letter came on a Tuesday. Folded. Formal. Cold. Amanda was suing for full custody. Natalie stared at the envelope for a long time before opening it. Even longer before she let herself breathe. Inside legal jargon, court dates, accusations. But one line stood out. Witnesses include Mr. and Mrs. Anderson, her parents. Natalie sat on the kitchen floor. Lily played in the next room humming. Natalie whispered to herself, "They're really doing this." She called a lawyer. Voice shaky, explaining the unexplainable. "I raised her. I loved her. I was all she had." The first court hearing came fast. Amanda arrived in heels, smiling like a movie star. Her lawyer spoke first. "Amanda is the biological mother. She has recovered. She wants to build a family." Natalie clenched her jaw, waited for her turn. Then her parents took the stand. Her father looked down. Her mother didn't even glance her way. "Natalie always pushed us away," her mother said calmly. "She kept Lily from her real family. We tried to visit. She made it hard." Natalie's fingers dug into her chair. She wanted to scream, lies, but instead she cried, quietly, because the worst wounds aren't always visible. They're the ones that come from those who raised you. Natalie couldn't sleep. The betrayal, the lies, the fear of losing Lily. But something didn't sit right. Amanda's sudden return, her perfect timing, the expensive lawyer, the cold confidence in court. It didn't feel like love. It felt like a setup. So she hired a private investigator. 2 weeks later, he came back with files. Thick ones, photos, documents, emails, and one sentence that made Natalie's knees give out. Amanda contacted Lily's biological father 6 months ago. The father, a man Amanda had refused to name for years. He had recently inherited over $8 million from his late father's estate. And in a sealed court record, Amanda had filed a petition to access child support rights if she could regain custody of Lily. She didn't come back for love. She came back for money. Natalie sat at her kitchen table, shaking. All these years, and now it made sense. She left Lily on my doorstep when she was broke. Now she's rich and wants her back. She gathered the documents, her hands still trembling. She would not lose Lily, not to greed, not to lies, not to someone who saw a child as a check with tiny hands. The final hearing began. Natalie walked in with a folder in her arms, not full of anger, but truth. Amanda sat across from her, flashing a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. The judge entered. Silence filled the room. Natalie stood, her voice shaky, but clear. "Your Honor, I have new evidence." She handed over the documents. The judge flipped through them. One page, then another. Whispers erupted behind them. Amanda's lawyer looked nervous. Amanda's smile was gone. Natalie didn't gloat. She didn't scream. She simply said, "I raised Lily not because I had to, but because I chose to. Every single day." She paused. Looked at Amanda. "You had 10 years. You had every chance. You only came back when money got involved. The judge leaned forward. It is the opinion of this court that Miss Natalie Anderson has been the child's true and consistent guardian for over a decade. Therefore, full legal custody shall remain with Miss Anderson. Ms. Amanda Thomas is granted supervised visitation only pending further psychological evaluation. Bang! The gavel dropped. And just like that, justice was served. The ruling had been made. Amanda was gone. Lily was safe. But Natalie had one more conversation to face. Her parents, they showed up 2 days later holding a pie and wearing guilt like a perfume. Natalie let them in. The silence between them was thicker than ever. Her father spoke first. We just want things to go back to how they were. Natalie didn't blink. That's the problem. They never should have been like that in the first place. Her mother tried to smile. We thought we were doing what's best. Natalie cut her off by testifying against me by siding with Amanda after 10 years of silence. She stood up, calm but resolute. From now on, if you want to see Lily, it will be supervised visits only, no exceptions. Her parents froze. Her voice didn't crack. Not this time, because I don't trust you anymore. And Lily deserves to be surrounded by people who put her heart, not their pride, first. They left without finishing the pie. Natalie closed the door and didn't cry. Weeks passed. The storm had settled, but scars were still raw. Then Amanda called. Natalie didn't want to answer, but something told her to pick up. Amanda's voice was different. No pride, no excuses, just silence. And then I've divorced Thomas. I thought he loved me. Turns out he only loved the inheritance. Natalie didn't speak. Amanda took a breath. You were right. I didn't come back for Lily. Not at first, but after seeing her, I realized I never deserved her. Tears broke her voice. I'm not asking to replace you. I couldn't if I tried. But if you let me, I'd like to be her aunt. A real one this time. Natalie listened. Not with open arms, but with a guarded heart. Still, she said Lily has one mother and one aunt. And if you truly want to be that, you'll have to earn it slowly, gently. Amanda didn't ask for forgiveness. She promised change. And for the first time, Natalie believed her. It was a sunny spring afternoon. The small auditorium at Lily's school was filled with balloons, folding chairs and proud smiles. Natalie sat in the second row clutching a bouquet and blinking back tears. Lily, now 11, walked up on stage in her floral dress, not to perform, but to speak. The teacher handed her the mic. Today's theme is, who do I thank for who I am? Lily looked out at the crowd, then straight at Natalie. Some kids were born into their families, but I was chosen every single day. Natalie froze. My mom didn't carry me in her belly, she carried me in her heart. Gasps, silence, then quiet sniffles. Nana is my mom because she chose me every single day. The room erupted in applause, but Natalie couldn't move. Tears streamed down her face, not from sadness, but from the purest kind of healing. That night, Lily handed her a card. In her bubbly handwriting, it read, "Thank you for being my real mom, even when the world said you weren't." The candles were lit. The cake was homemade, vanilla with raspberry frosting. And Natalie, she was surrounded. Lily's friends ran around with party hats. Neighbors brought handmade gifts. And Amanda, quiet, respectful, stood to the side watching, learning. But Lily only had eyes for one person. When it came time to blow the candles, Lily closed her eyes and made her wish. Then she reached for a small envelope. Plain, handwritten, she gave it to Natalie with a shy smile. Open it later, okay, just to you. That night after the dishes were done, the guests gone, and the house quiet, Natalie sat on the couch alone under the glow of the birthday balloons. She opened the card. Inside in Lily's careful writing were just a few words. Thank you for choosing me every single day for 11 years. Natalie didn't cry this time. She smiled because finally Lily knew. And that was the only gift she ever needed. The sky was painted in soft oranges and gold. Natalie sat on the small balcony wrapped in a light cardigan with Lily curled up next to her head on her shoulder. They didn't say much. They didn't need to. The breeze was gentle. The city below was quiet. Just two silhouettes watching the world slow down. Then Natalie spoke softly, almost like she was thinking out loud. If you hadn't arrived that night, my life would have gone a different way. She paused, tightened her arm around Lily. Maybe it would have been easier, but it would have been emptier too. Much, much emptier. Lily looked up, smiled with sleepy eyes, and whispered, I'm glad I came to you. Natalie kissed her forehead. Me too, baby. Me too. And as the sun dipped below the horizon, Natalie realized this moment, this girl, this life was the most unexpected gift she never knew she needed. Have you ever had someone who became your family even if they weren't tied to you by blood, a neighbor, a teacher, a friend, someone who simply chose to stay? And maybe, just maybe, you've been that person to someone else without even knowing it. If a face just came to your mind, don't let that thought fade. Tell them, thank them, or simply remember. And if you feel like sharing, drop it in the comments. Because stories like that, they remind us that family isn't always DNA. Sometimes it's a decision, a choice we make again and again. Sometimes the people who choose to stay are more important than the ones who were supposed to. Blood makes us related, but love, sacrifice, and loyalty, that's what makes us family. Never underestimate the quiet heroes around you. And if you're that person for someone, know this: you matter more than you think. If this story touched your heart, subscribe to Through Her Eyes for more stories about love loss and the quiet power of staying. Because every view, every comment helps us share voices that deserve to be heard.